it do, everybody? This is Junior Zamarone coming at you live from Santa Rosa, California for a special edition of Baseball, Bobbleheads, and Brews. On today's show, we're going to be kicking with the crew from Iron Ox Brewing Company, and we're going to bring not one, not two, but like Steph Curry, dropping 3 brand new brews. We're also going to be going over a championship bobblehead that ties in to one of the brews. So let's get this party going and let's pop it top again. I want to welcome into the show, we got Kevin and Vince from Iron Ox Brewing Company, and we got my brother-in-law right here, Brent. Welcome to the show, guys. What's going down?
Yeah, thanks for having us. This is awesome. We're super excited you guys are here. So yeah, we're getting ready to get started. Got some new cans coming out today, so super excited to get those out in the world. Let people check our beer out. Yeah.
We got a little bit of a baseball-related brew in here featuring Madison Bumgarner. So stay tuned for that. When it comes to Iron Ox Brewing Company, is there an origin story?
Yeah, so I guess I can kind of start with that. So all of this started back in April of 2015, and we started as Plow Brewing Company. And so back then I started it by myself, and you know, if there's one thing I learned over the course of 5 years is that I need help.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I teamed up with Vince Ferracuti, and we created Iron Ox Brewing Company. So, you know, Plow Brewing Company is still very much so part of our heritage, and it's still, very strong in everything we do. But now we're doing a lot of new things, you know. I mean, we've got kettle sours and hazies, and, different kind of things. And so that's kind of the Iron Ox side of us. So, yeah, so that's kind of the, origin story right there, I guess.
And what brought you to the dance?
Initially, I've been brewing professionally for 17 years.
Wow.
Going way back to 2003. Probably aging myself, but working at Lagunitas back then, and then worked there for a little bit. Then I left Lagunitas and I went to San Francisco to get a head brewer for Speakeasy Ales and Lagers.
Yeah.
There for several years, and then, after spending some time at Speakeasy, I kind of wanted to see fermentation from the perspective of the grape, and so I left Speakeasy and actually went to work for a winery in St. Helena. And it was actually while working at the wineries where I really came up with the idea and really kind of started forming, the groundwork, creating my own brewery. But one day in 2010, the owner of Russian River Brewing Company gave me a call and offered me a job. And I was like, I'm not going to say no to that.
Yeah, hard to say no to Russian River.
So I was a brewer at Russian River for 3 years, and then, left there 2013. Took me a year and a half to build this place. Finally opened up in 2015, and now here we are sitting with you guys.
Awesome. So, Vince, what brought you to the dance of the craft beer world?
It's always been something I've loved. Craft beer is one of those things that it was always part of me. Whenever we went to go visit a place, we go check out the local craft beer. Kind of get an idea of the area when you go to the local craft brewery, So I actually got a job here shortly after opening up, in 2015, as just a Sunday bartender. Just loved it. Went back into bartending and talked to people about beer. It'd be great. I'd wake up after the first football game, of the day, come in, serve some pints, talk football with everybody, and close up and go home, talking beer and football with everybody. So I met Kevin, got really into home brewing stuff, and then from there I got into outside sales rep. And that's when in September 2019, Kevin approached me to kind of become partner. I was kind of blown away, like, oh, here we go, this is kind of something kind of stepping up the game a little bit. Let's do this, right? So I got super excited. It sounded like a great idea back in 2019, and then a pandemic hit. So that was kind of, changing things up, but it made us kind of switch some gears around a little bit here and there, but we rebranded, getting our name out there now, and that's kind of where we're going from, yeah.
And we featured Iron Ox in our East Coast versus West Coast Battle of the IPA, and they won. They brought everything that we needed for that specific style, and they knocked it out the park. So we really appreciated that. And then we linked up with Vince, and we planned this beautiful episode here where we're going to launch 3 different beers. Now, I know what I drink. Brent knows what he drinks. What is your guys' beer style of choice?
Well, that's actually a difficult question. And so, I've been, even before I started professionally brewing, I was a home brewer for 12 years, going all the way back to 91. And so I have an honest appreciation for all beer. I really do. I mean, just about anything, you know, I can find something to have value in it. And that is a big thing here at Iron Ox, you know. If it's something I don't want to drink, you know, we don't make it. And so I hate saying that, you know, I kind of brew them all for me in a sense, but, you know, they really are what I want to drink. And so every one of the beers kind of has a small kind of niche and kind of my emotional path or whatever. Like, you know, if it's a really hot day, you know, of course, then I love the Pilsner. But, you know, if I'm camping fireside, then, you know, our vanilla bean porter is absolutely what's in my hand. You know, and then everything else. At the end of the day, though, like, you know, a big day of brewing or whatever, I'm usually an IPA guy, so I'm always drinking our various IPAs. But I like, you know, having new stuff and playing with new hops. And so that's why we've got different IPAs all the time. Again, I hate sounding all selfish, but, you know, we want to play with the new hops, and so we want to check them out and everything. And so that's why all of our beers, we're always kind of trying to use some of the new stuff and just having fun with it.
Absolutely.
Now, which hop do you not like? Because unfortunately for me, I try to stay away from the Citra hops. It's just, it'll punch you in the face, and that's not what I'm about. I want to be able to enjoy what I'm drinking.
It's got to be mixed with other hops.
The funny thing about that is the first time I had Citra, I didn't like it either.
Yeah.
And so we're going back about 2015, you know. I got different kind of, you know, cat characteristics out of it and stuff like that, and so I didn't really like it. But again, with, you know, playing around with different hops, we found that is one of the most unique hops that currently exist. It's one that after we pack it, we've noticed that the beers, they actually get better. And so after we put it in the can, it's actually about 3 weeks out that they really seem to kind of peak. And then, of course, the match with Citra and Mosaic seems to be something magical.
Yeah.
You know, but so it started out as a hop that I didn't really like it all either. And to be honest, now it's kind of one of my favorites.
Well, we noticed it's in a lot of different beers. You guys have seen the stuff. We try beers from all over. We try beers that have all different hops and everything. And there is one common thing. A lot of them have Citra hops in it. So usually if they're mixed with other hops, it seems to be okay.
Yeah, so I actually haven't found a hop that I can say that I don't like. I mean, you know, I wouldn't necessarily, you know, put, you know, I mean, never say never. Maybe I will put Citra in a lager. But, you know, but there's definitely, you know, I can see hops for IPAs, and I can definitely see hops more for lagers. And so definitely with every hop, you know, I check them out, and there's definitely a beer that I have in my head where I'm like, okay, this is definitely where I want that hop. But yeah, there's never really a hop where I'm just like, oh, that's garbage. I mean, you know, I seem to have appreciation for all of them.
I might be a little uncultured on that one.
Yeah.
Stick up my nose. My apologies. Vince, what is your beer style of choice?
So, I mean, honestly, just like Kevin was saying, it kind of depends on your mood, right? I mean, like, I'm a pretty big fan and can appreciate pretty much all beers, but, you know, originally being from Canada, I mean, I can't say no to a good Pilsner, you know? I gotta say, nice lagers, Pilsners are really kind of my go-to. It's my fridge beer, you know, one of those things.
It's always that.
Totally. It's always got it ready to go, you know? So that's why I love, you know, Kevin's beer so much. I mean, you made that Sonoma Coast Pils, that's now the Plow Pils. I mean, it's one of our flagships. It's one of my favorite beers of all time, you know, so that one. But then going back to the Citra hop, I mean, we make a Halflinger Pale Ale, and it's with Citra and Mosaic. That's the first time we found that kind of really come out. And Citra really works really well, kind of bringing those other flavors of those hops out, just like you were saying before. Because now Hungry Hoppopotamus, that one's Citra and Eldorado, and those two together, I mean, they're a great combination too. So we're kind of having a hard time finding a bad combination with those two, you know? It keeps bringing new things out with them, you know? So
perfect.
yeah, it's just getting pretty exciting, and just checking new hops out. And yeah, I don't know. Right now, the Optimus Prime, the Optimus, that's my go-to right now.
The Optimus Prime is the best one.
In the fridge, ready to go.
All the time. Whenever we can find it, we buy it.
Right on. Awesome. Well, thank you for the support. Yeah, I do that too. No, okay. No, we're really liking that beer a lot. And it's actually kind of a funny story. We came up with that name because we were kind of trying to come up with a reason for a new beer for Year of the Iron Ox. So, Chinese New Year came over as Year of the Ox, and the element changed over to metal. So, I mean, Year of the Metal Ox. We're Iron Ox. We got to do something, right? So, what's better to celebrate than, you know, big, massive ox robot? So, figured out kind of go with it. Yeah.
One of the favorites for the kids too, as far as the label goes. They look at it and they lose it. They're like, oh, it's a transformer.
There's about 6 different cans that have went missing. I have found them before my kids drank them. They just want the sticker in the can.
I gotta have a fridge in my garage. That's where I keep all my beer, and it is just full of stickers from different beers that I enjoy. And I take them off. I was so proud to take the Optimus Prime one off and put it on there. It was such a good beer.
Sweet.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, our label art we get it all done from a local artist here. Shout out to Numbskull Artwork. I mean, Chris is an awesome guy.
Yeah.
Makes amazing stuff. I mean, everything he does just blows us away. So like, we give him an idea, have this idea in my head, and all of a sudden he sends this thing. We open up the file. It's like, whoa, that's 10 times better than I thought. You know? So yeah, he's just doing some amazing stuff. We're pretty lucky to have that guy doing our stuff for us. Yeah.
Awesome. So with the pandemic, it causes everybody to pivot. So we hopefully survived what 2020 had to offer. What does 2021 look like for Iron Ox and going into the future?
Well, you know, we do want to keep doing what we're doing and, you know, creating kind of new beers and everything else, but, you know, always trying to learn kind of from the past and hopefully, you know, use it to go forward. It's something here kind of small at the brewery itself. You know, we're all outside right now, and this is something that we've actually really learned to enjoy. So we actually really like being outside. So even when the pandemic's behind us, we're really going to try to embrace
This will still be here.
outside. It's what we're really working on and hoping to do. And so we're hoping to have the outside and maybe figure out how to, you know, have some bands and stuff like that outside. But we're going to keep, you know, they're coming out with new hops all the time, so we're going to keep making new beers all the time. And, you know, definitely the IPAs, because we love those. And so, you know, just kind of keep moving.
Perfect. Vince, what about you? Anything that you have tucked off in there as a surprise that's going to
I
happen?
don't want to give too many things away.
Yeah.
We got a lot of big plans that we really wanted to do last year, you know, and obviously we weren't able to do a lot of those things. So as things kind of start to open back up again, we've got some more ideas and kind of bring some things back that we had before as plow brewing, like our disc golf tournaments. We want those to come back. We really enjoy being outside and kind of working with the outdoors and the local disc golf club. You know, things like that. Just kind of, you know, again, just kind of keep exploring, keep getting out there, get new cans.
Yes.
That's great.
Awesome. All right, let's get into these 3 brews. So Vince, which brew are we going to start off with first?
We're starting off with the 10 Lire Italian-style lager. It's actually based off of the feud between Enzo Ferrari and Ferruccio Lamborghini. It's kind of what kicked off the Lamborghini supercar itself. It's based after a clutch that was 10 lira, so that's what we named it, 10 lira.
And I'm super stoked because I believe Italian lagers aren't really represented in the market. The most mass-produced one is Peroni, and you know it's mass-produced, so it's not going to give you that type of real big flavor. So I'm looking forward to this one for sure.
Yeah, we're really excited about this one, this release. We wanted kind of a friend to our Pils, our Sonoma Coast Pils, which is our flagship. And this guy is made with Mandarina Bavaria. It's a German hop that gives a little bit of hints of orange, kind of clementine, little tangerine flavors to it. Real nice and subtle on the back end. Would go great with pizza. Sorry,
Yeah, there you go. Oh yeah. That's delicious.
Ice cold and crisp.
Yeah.
I'm
Definitely
picking-
something that you could just drink for a whole night, you know, if you're going to be having pizza or, you know, at some sort of party or something, even at a pizza place.
Totally. It's perfect beer, you know, all day, even baseball drinker. You're drinking it for a baseball game all day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can see that for sure.
And again, kind of the orange and slightly
Yeah.
citrusy notes are real
Yeah.
subtle in there that you just kind of help hang out in the background.
I'm getting it on the back of the palate. I'm picking up the hoppy bitterness to it, but it's not overpowering. It's very smooth on the finish, and it actually opened up the aromas in the nose for me. You know, I can pick up a little bit of that clementine smell to it.
Yeah.
On the crispness of it, like just how, just perfectly refreshing, you know, like it's one of those beers you just drink.
That's kind of what we're going for, you know. A nice, easy drinker. Someone's a nice, crisp, kind of satisfying, nice full flavor with the hops in there. But yeah, so I'm pretty excited about the Italian style.
So what brought it to the table? Is it something that you had been looking at doing, or is it one of those experimental things?
Well, I have always loved lager. And so, you know, again, that's why when we opened up in 2015, you know, the Pils was one of the first beers we had.
Yeah.
I've always loved lagers. And I don't feel like lagers really get kind of their, you know, play, if you will, as they should. And so when we get particular hop, because they're so delicate, you know, it's like I can't just, you know, hop the hell out of them like an IPA.
Yeah.
So you got to be very, very careful with it. So when we get a really cool hop, again, this goes back to me and appreciating hops. It's something like Mandarina Bavaria. Is, you know, we had that, and, you know, it really had kind of some of these nice kind of citrusy notes. And typically with an Italian lager, it is usually a little bit more hop forward of the lagers. And so that's kind of where it started. is just in the beer with it, and then talking to Vince. That's why we really came up with the whole idea of coming out with an Italian lager, and finally getting this into the can and getting it in front of people.
Yeah.
And I can definitely drink this with any type of Italian food that's out there. Pizzas, it could be pasta. You know, I come from the culinary background, and it's a funny thing because as we had the origin story for Iron Ox, there is an origin story for baseball, bobbleheads, and brews. We started out doing theme nights for food. And we went into the Italian area and we were preparing food and we tried to pair the drinks with it, and that's where we found the Peroni. And you don't really see that much stuff out there that's not as sour. So this actually lived up to the hype. Absolutely. And it's very drinkable. It makes me want some more.
Right.
Let's crack open another can. No?
Exactly.
So now we're going into the second beer, the Italian. That right now is my favorite. So let's build up the crescendo and move into the next one. Vince, what do we got?
So our next one is our Starview Hazy IPA. It was actually the very last beer that we made as Plow Brewing Company. So we wanted to bring it back and put it into can form under Iron Ox Brewing Company. In this area used to house the Starview Motors Drive-In movie theater. People could see it from 101. We want to kind of bring that back and relive it, kind of like, you know, immortalize it in beer can, you know.
Yeah.
So let's give this one. This one features, we got Mosaic and Galaxy in this guy.
And what's the percentage for alcohol?
This one is 7.2.
This one's gonna wake you up.
Yeah, it's gonna wake you up. Nice big orange, you know, and citrus flavors to it. It's a real easy drinker. Nice big high fruit notes to it, low bitterness, and definitely a nice big haze color to it, white.
It sticks around, that's good. And so we always have a little bit of a discussion when it comes to our pour. I like very little head on my beer, but we were told by Shoddy from the West Side Renaissance Market that everything that you get headwise here, it's not going to happen inside of you. So what do you guys prefer on your pour? Do you want a lot of head or a little head?
I personally like kind of a lot of head on there a little bit. Gets that that CO2 out, so you can smell it a little bit better, you know.
So that's what we were told.
You know, it gives a nice big kind of you know, a nice big you know, nose and aromas to it for sure. Actually, one of our glasses that we use has a etched bottom to it that creates a CO2 nucleation site for it, and it kind of keeps kind of forcing that head kind of up to the top and kind of popping up the top, so you kind of continue to smell it every time you take a sip to it. So that's kind of like my favorite. I don't know if you have any.
Yeah, you know, there's lots of people that like to talk about it. I know you even get into some of the, you know, very traditional places, you know, in Germany and Czechoslovakia, you know, and they'll want a solid 2 fingers of foam on there. Yeah. Whereas, you know, I do like having the foam on there too, but I'm more of just single finger, you know. Yeah. But just like Vince said, that, you know, having that foam on there really helps get out a lot of those aromatics, and so, you know, which is a very, very important part of the beer. And so so a little bit, but not too much.
I think that's one thing that I might be missing, because, you know, I'd give me more beer for my buck. But I'm definitely picking up on that citrus, and there is that subtle touch of the blueberry in the background. It sort of actually reminds me of making blueberry pancakes or waffles, and it mixes a little bit with the syrupness. Oh. And it's just, how do we get the coating in the mouth? Because that's what I'm picking up too. It lingers for a while.
So that is one of the quintessential parts of a hazy. Is it's the haze that's giving you that, you know, really kind of coating. And what is the haze? You know, I mean, a lot of people kind of ask that, you know. Yeah. And so it's a combination of things. And so one of the biggest things it is it's the yeast. And so the yeast, you know, they actually kind of work as little like sponges, as sucking up a lot of those, you know, hop oils and everything. That's why it's so important with the hazies that we have that haze in there, so you get those. But in addition to that, we use some different unmalted wheats and even some oats in there to kind of further give it kind of that stronger kind of mouthfeel. And we really feel that really kind of helps accentuate some of the more juicy and fruity hops.
Okay. So we were told on one of the shows that with doubles and triples, it's good to pour them, let that go, let them come up a few degrees in temperature. Did you guys agree with that? Do you guys agree that it enhances the flavor as it gets, you know, a couple, maybe 5 degrees warmer, stuff like that, rather than just drinking them just straight out of the fridge, ice cold?
So everything, you know. In fact, to me, sometimes it's kind of fun to almost just kind of do that, is to pour it cold and take a sip, and then actually watch the beer change as it warms up. And that goes with all beers. It doesn't matter, you know, if it's lagers or, you know, big giant porters.
Okay.
You know, you can drink them really cold, but you're definitely going to get different things out of the beer versus if you let it warm up. Sometimes with some of the mass-produced lagers, those things that you get when they warm up aren't so great, and that's why they always say drink them really, really ice cold. But for sure, you know, with kind of bigger hopped beers, you know, you want to be in about the mid 40s, you know. But
Hoppy, you want some?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think kind of letting it warm up just a little bit, you get a little more of the nuances of the hops, a little more flavors, a little more of those juice kind of characteristics really kind of come out. You know, our porter, one of those things, I don't know what we're drinking it now, but I mean, it's almost like it changes completely from top to bottom when you're drinking it. Kind of warms up. Starts off with kind of colder, kind of chocolate coffee notes, and then kind of warms up into more of the stone fruit flavors. Kind of like this guy. You know, this guy's nice and kind of crisp at the beginning. I think as it warms up, more of those orange and more of those kind of blueberry notes are really going to start to kind of really appear.
Okay.
You know? Yeah. I think it's one of those things. So it makes craft beer so enjoyable. You know, 7.2, you can sip on it for a little bit and kind of, you know, go along for the ride.
Where are we at for the IBUs?
Do you guys have that?
yeah, so the IBUs for the Starview, it's actually a little bit under 50. Normally with the single IPA, you know, generally people are in kind of the 50s, you know, low 50s to high 50s.
Yeah.
But with the hazies, we've actually kind of found that having the really high IBUs takes away from some of that kind of mouth coating that you kind of get, which helps accentuate kind of the juicy, you know, and fruity hops. And so with the hazies, we tend to keep them in the high 40s. Okay. And so the Starview being, you know, a little bit over 48.
Perfect.
And how much does that affect the actual, you know, beer? So if you're blowing out the IBUs, is it not going to be a pleasant experience, or is it going to add, you know, a little bit more sophistication to the beer or the bouquet?
So it really depends on the beer. And so again, with the hazies, you know, kind of that more kind of mouth coating that you kind of, you know, that we're looking for to accentuate the juicy and the fruity hops. Whereas when you're looking for, you know, your big, huge, you know, crystal clear West Coast IPAs. Yeah. Well, I mean, now you're looking to, you know, be pretty much punched in the mouth. And so to get that really just big, just kind of, you know, hammer you hard, then you got to have the really high IBUs. So for a single IPA, that's when you want to be in the high 50s, you know, doubles, you know, 70s, 80s, and triples over 100, you know.
That's great.
Wow. Yeah, this one actually is gonna be my favorite hazy at the moment. Before that, we had Laughing Monk, the Sister Alyssa. That was one of the hazies that I can get down on. We also found a hazy
really like those guys,
triple IPA, and that was from out in Davis, the Sudworks. I think it was Timber Tantrum.
Timber Tantrum.
Awesome.
It was really good.
It was good.
Lager on the. It was great. It was good art to it, everything.
Yep, and it brought you in. It wasn't really overpowering, but it let you know that it was going to knock you out when they're done. Before we get into the third beer, we want to plug Visit Santa Rosa because they have a wonderful beer passport to wind up getting this beautiful medal that's also a bottle opener. That's pretty freaking cool. So, guys, explain to us what exactly is the beer passport?
Yeah, so Beer Passport was actually something that was set up by Visit Santa Rosa. They did an amazing job, you know, getting people to come out and go to all the different breweries. We've noticed a huge uptick of people coming in strictly because of this passport. You know, not many times you get rewarded for going to breweries, you know, so now you do with this passport. So you go around from brewery to brewery, you get a sticker that gets posted on this passport, and you turn it in to Visit Santa Rosa, and they give you one of these awesome medals. Just so happens today, they're here giving out the medals for all the completed passports. So we're really excited to have them here. But yeah, no, it's year after year we've seen it kind of growing. And this year in particular really helped us out because it's the first year that we're Iron Ox on that passport. So it really helped getting people kind of over and really checking the new place out and kind of checking all the new stuff out. Yeah.
Awesome. So now let's get into the hyped up Mason Saunders Brew. Now, if you don't know, I'm an A's fan, of course. That's why Brent's here. He brings the Giants representation. But Mason Saunders is Madison Bumgarner's alias because he's a rodeo star. He's actually won awards there. So how did that come into play for producing this beer?
So both Kevin and I are both Giants fans. So it's kind of one of those things kind of coming up with names for it. And Kevin was like, we got to do a Mason Saunders beer. And it was like, exactly, we got to do that. We got to really bring that forward. It was pretty funny kind of, seeing that picture when it was circulating around like Bleacher Report and all those different places, and kind of seeing him accepting his rodeo award. Yeah. So we had to, immortalize that and put it on a can. So that's where we're going.
And of course, in March, we're all thinking about baseball.
Yeah. Oh, everybody.
And especially after last year, we want baseball more than anything.
And a whole season. We want to have a whole season of baseball.
I'd like the A's to, get to the ALCS. Baby steps. ALCS first, then a World Series. But hey, if they surprise me with another one, I was like 5 years old the last time they won one, and I do remember it. So all the haters out there going, but do you remember it? We do.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for us, we remember the 3 and 5 years.
Yeah.
It's not what the A's did 3 in a row, but it's still up there comparable with other dynasties.
Absolutely. This guy had a major play in all 3 of those. Being a rookie, his 2010, and then 2012, and then basically winning the 2014, single-handedly. Yeah. It's pretty incredible. So we had to make a beer kind of for him.
Yeah. You also have to give a little shout out to Alex Gordon for falling down and not actually rounding third base properly. He lost the fundamentals and forgot how to play baseball for a second.
Thanks, Alex.
So what hops are in this one?
So this one, it's the first time we actually used Sriracha Ace. It's a hop from Japan. We really thought it would kind of fit really well because, Madison Bumgarner was the ace, right?
Right.
So, the other hop we used in there was El Dorado. Nice big tropical hop because this is a tropical IPA. So the Sriracha Ace gives a nice big bright lemon flavor to it. And the El Dorado finish is really, really nice with kind of almost like a fruity pebble tropical finish on the back end of it.
It sort of reminds me of a wheat lager. So am I in the ballpark on that one, or?
Well, there is actually no wheat in it, but definitely a whole lot of barley. But one of the big things, so again, kind of going back to just like hops and checking them out, and the Sriracha Ace, we definitely got kind of when we first checked it out a while ago, we got a little bit of a lemony character, and so it's always kind of the back of my head, of wanting to put it into a beer. So we started to come up with the idea of Mason Saunders, and in particular being a tropical IPA.
Yeah.
That's when Sriracha Ace kind of really came back out. And so we're like, if we could get that, mixed in with a little bit of the kind of, grapefruit and stuff that you get from the El Dorado, that we thought it would really kind of provide a little bit of a fruit cocktail. And so you do almost get kind of a pina colada kind of character, out
Don't
of
mind
this
me.
beer.
Never leave a can with a little tiny bit in there. You got to empty it. I appreciate the lacing on the head. It sticks around. I'm not really big on fruit in my beer, but this one gives you that little subtle punch, and it actually alleviates in the back of the palate. I'm getting that super hopness to it, and it makes it lighter. So if you're one like I used to be that can't handle the hot punch, this one will give you a little bit of relief in there, and it's completely drinkable.
Yeah. It's a really good beer.
But definitely, and also even outside of, Mason Saunders, but also really trying to, what I feel is exemplify the kind of new style that is a tropical IPA. A lot of people don't really understand what that is, because it's not a West Coast and it's not really a hazy either. It's something kind of in the middle of it, but it's something that we've been having a lot of fun with, and I feel like this really kind of, hits the point of what a tropical IPA is. So I'm very much so loving this beer.
Well, it seems like there's a lot of hops that actually give off a lot of the fruit notes and stuff like that. So a tropical IPA is kind of perfect for that. And, you know, you could mix around some of the different hops. I mean, I like the Sriracha 8s because of, you know, Madison Bumgarner, but you know, it's cool to see you guys actually going for, oh, well, we know that these are different types of fruity aspects. Let's put them all in one and let's see what happens. It's really cool.
Yeah, just the overall knowledge that's brought to the table. You get your brewers in here and you make sure that they're putting out high quality product, and that's what you guys are bringing to the table. Out of the 3 that are brought in, it's up there with the Optimus Prime. Like right now, my mind is blown because it's the consistent achievement of really good beers. And some people might strike out like that, but right now, Iron Ox is completely crushing it.
Every one of their beers, every one of them have been very good. So,
and you know, I don't want to say that I'm kissing ass or anything like that.
He's a big guy, right?
I've found that sometimes beer is not going to be good, and when we get these beers in front of us on the blind taste test, I'm not going to lie. I was going to say 1 is going to be bad. 1 of 3. It's like when you do the culinary.
Like, one of them is going to be bad. Which one is it?
When you do the culinary aspect and you try to break down an ingredient and do 2 presentations and you present it to a judge, if you did 1 really good, it's going to be the star, and then the other one that's actually going to drag it down. What you guys did with these 3, they're all right there on the same playing field, bringing another thing to the party, and that's much appreciated.
Well, and something else that we really try to do, and this is something for anybody watching anywhere close, you know, you can stop by our brewery, is, you know, we've got 10, 12 different beers on tap right now. And so one thing that we really try to do is we really try to make each particular beer for that particular beer, so for it to be unique. And so it's very possible that we're going to have a beer that, you know, somebody's going to like out of all of our 10. But the point being is that we're trying to create something so that just about anybody coming in, there's going to be something they're going to like, and we're hoping that they kind of like it a lot. And so we really try to make all of our beers taste very different from each other. And I think you kind of notice that with the 3 of these beers. They're all very different from each other.
The focus to detail makes it seem like you're not trying to make this one, oh, this beer was a successful one, let's try to make one like that. And you guys aren't trying to do that. You guys are trying to make individual, different beers for every one of them. And that's a big plus, because it makes it to where every time you try something new, it's new. It's like, oh, this reminds me of this. It's a completely different beer.
Right. And we've heard that with some breweries, they have the same formula, and all they do is wrap it in new can art.
Yeah.
So
it's oh, this tastes a little bit different. Let's put a different art on it.
Yeah.
So it really doesn't happen here. So I mean, that's one of the things too, is we like to make a beer kind of from the beginning to the end, and really kind of make it its own, you know. And we'll bring it back and put it under that same label again, like just like we did with Starview. You know, we want to bring that back and let it, you know, live off in a 16-ounce can. But same thing, you know, that's what we want to make it special, and it's individual kind of beer, you know, absolutely.
And provided Mad Dom doesn't get all pissed off with this, we'll try to bring this back next year.
Yeah, right, man.
The really cool thing on the bottom of the can, which was pointed out to me by Vince, it says "Suck it, Joe West." So, you know,
Go for it.
For me, Joe West is a bad umpire, but guess what? Angel Hernandez is worse.
Angel Hernandez was worse.
Mid-season form in
Already.
1 week of spring training. How does this guy still have a job? If I was that bad at my job, I would have been let go 3 years ago.
He's already bad, and it's his up to reputation on that one.
So, do all the cans have it? Oh, foggy,
They all
foggy
have
window.
something. They all have something.
Having a good time at the drive-in, foggy windows.
Hey!
Oh.
Enzo versus, right there. So this is one thing that I gotta say. Yes, paying homage to Madison Bumgarner. You gotta give the A's some love. Maybe a Catfish Hunter Brew or the GOAT Ricky Henderson, and then really we gotta go in and do Battle of the Bay Brews whenever the Giants and the A's play, and then you can come out here, catch a table, watch the game, and which one's gonna sell the most? Is it the Mason Saunders or is it the A's beer? You know, so that could be another thing that's in the pipe, and I'll take my 2% maybe.
We wheels are already turning.
Wheels
I like
are
that.
turning.
That's a good one.
That's a
I
good
like
one.
that.
Yes.
All right.
Juice.
Come
on,
Juice.
right there to
Oh,
himself.
man.
I think you just gave it. No one take that.
No one take it. We cut that one out.
So we got into the brews, and we brought you the Mason Saunders Tropical IPA. Now we're gonna go into one of Mad Bum's best bobbleheads, and me being an A's fan, I feel really dirty having this even in my collection, but it comes from my trophy and award collection. And Brent, go ahead and talk a little bit about the championship run, 3 and 5 years, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, you know, it's hard for an A's fan, you know, because they're like, oh, they're still not as good as the 70s, and we got 3 in a row. But to have a team, you know, to step up and do that, it was magical. Especially when, you know, you're the underdog part of them. You know, it's coming up and just killing it, especially postseason. Madison Bumgarner was a big part of it. I mean, he pretty much won it for us in 2014. So it's kind of hard to not call him, you know, one of the best Giants that's been out there.
For me, I got love for Juan Marichal. My boy Vita Blue played a little bit of time with the Giants. And, you know, going back into the day, when I was a young kid, I appreciated Matt Williams, and I appreciated Kurt Manwaring, and Robbie Thompson was a good second baseman out there, slightly underrated. So this bobblehead comes from the 2014 championship season. It was given away to 10,000 fans in 2015. And of course, this bobblehead is made by AGP, our good friends out of Seattle, Washington, and they consistently put out really good bobbleheads. And this one's no different. In my collection, when I first got it, I actually messaged Brent about it, going, check this one out, because it's really cool, because not only is he holding the National League MVP for the championship series, he's also holding the World Series MVP. The trophies molded into their hands and painted really well, and that's one thing that AGP brings to the market. Their attention to detail is really good. Last week we had the Dallas Maverick dual bobblehead, and this one, you can see there's definitely no fractures, no cracks on it. It's really well put together. It has the blousing on the sweatshirt, and he's wearing a hooded sweatshirt in there. So it comes down to be a really good bobblehead. The paint detail, the logos, of course, are raised, and that's some of the best bobbleheads out on the market, when they take that attention to detail and actually give you the raised logo, the raised lettering, the raised numbers. That's really appreciative to what they put in. So we have a little bit of facial paint that's on the cheek, but being so close to the actual award base, it's bound to happen. It's a full-size bobblehead, so it comes in at about 7.5 to 8 inches tall, and the detail is just phenomenal. I mean, you have the detail of his long hair, and I'm surprised it wasn't him in wet attire, because during that parade, it was in the rain.
He was in a poncho, actually.
Yep.
I'm kind of surprised that the poncho wasn't on there.
You can sort of see it right here on the
But
box.
I could get how it'd be a little difficult to put a poncho on a bobblehead. And
But
make
it's
it
unique,
stick.
and that's one of the things that we really want to see with bobbleheads, because you can have really unique style bobbleheads and add different elements to it. I mean, come on, they even have textured shoes.
Yep.
Being that Mason Saunders was his cowboy persona, I can tell that those are actually athletic, like cross-trainer shoes,
Yep.
but they sort of look like boots.
Yep.
Boots sort of like what Brent has on right now, too. So he's paying homage to Mad Bum in his
Absolutely.
own way. So what do you think about this bobblehead? Go ahead, pick it
So,
up. And
I don't know a
tell
lot
us.
about bobbleheads. But what I can tell you from the ones that I do have is that
Who got you all of those, by the way?
this guy over here, he invited me to the games where we were getting them. He's the reason my sons have so many bobbleheads. But there's a lot of detail on this one, and some of the ones that even he has in his collection that I've seen are like, okay. But I mean, like you said, you got stitching on the hat. that you can see. You got the belt buckle. I mean, everything, stitching on the pants, like just the detail of it is pretty fantastic. And that's just, for me, that's a really good bobblehead.
And it comes down to AGP is pretty much the top manufacturer of bobbleheads right now. And a lot of people use the same manufacturer out in China, but they might have a better detailed person going through and saying, no, this is what their standard is, and we want to make sure that we live up to it. And the beautiful thing about it, a lot of times in bobbleheads, you see the colors bleed together, but on this one, you don't really see that, besides the paint rubbing off on the cheek. So when you do something really well, it's always going to be out there, and people are going to want to highly collect it. And that's one of these things. Yes, I do feel dirty because I have it in my collection, being an A's fan. But the fact that I do trophies and awards, and the fact that you can actually see the details, the pillars, or the curve on the World Series MVP trophy, it's spectacular. So you have to get it if you're a Giants fan.
Absolutely. I'm going to steal it from him.
Mine. Mine, just like in the Disney movie with the seagulls from Finding Nemo. It's mine, and it's going to stay in the collection. But if you need it, search it out, eBay, maybe reach out to AGP and see if they have any sitting around the office.
Absolutely.
But it's one of those bobbleheads that is proudly displayed in the award and trophy collection. We're going to link you up with Iron Ox Brewing Company, and we're going to also link you up with Visit Santa Rosa. That way you can get in on the beer medallion, on the passport. There's still time to get it done. We're also going to link you up with AGP so you can check out all things bobbleheads that they're bringing to the market. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and we'll see you next time on Baseball, Bobbleheads, and Brews.